because people feel isolated. This is the social infrastructure will going to be unrest, right? America is the same situation is going. So we try to consider how to give them feeling happiness. And we discussed last Saturday, okay, we try to consider for the kind of society to get unified each other. Or we can consider for the younger people, okay, senior, older people rent the room for younger people, but instead the younger people will go to spend some time for elder people for communication every day, like a 30 minutes or so forth. And then we try to get more understanding each other. This is one method. This is not maybe this is not America. I think some Asian countries we discuss. And but America is we need to consider half population of people is about annual income is $25,000. This is very poor. But and also including black people, they don't feel happy. But this is the other problem in the social unrest. Right? So we try to give them hope and dream, and happiness. What sort of things we should be considered? But I believe nobody's thinking about those issues. So far, I do know that, but this is the most important issue in next decade or 2 decades. It's the communication gap and also the generation gap will going to be expanding. This is big issue, right? This is
It is.
my observation.
Well, there's still a lot of resistance in Japan against this bigger gap. I mean, the way that, for example, Japan responded to Carlos Ghosn and the money he received, and when he underreported his income, I think that kind of shows that in Japan there is no tolerance for greedy people who want to take more than they too much money. So moderation is kind of is a virtue, whereas in the United States the opposite is the case. Like having lots of money is a virtue, and it's the envy of the rest of society. They feel like they kind of like represent the American dream. So there's hardly any criticism to people who make a lot of money. I remember when Donald Trump came to power, he was asked about his tax return, and I remember that he said, "Yeah, of course, I'm only paying the taxes that I need to pay. That is a prudent way of doing business. I owe it to my people, to the people that I employ, that I find the best tax construction in order to maximize profit for my organization. That is a virtue."
He doesn't show his tax return yet.
He doesn't show his tax
He
return
committed,
yet.
but he did.
But also from his companies, he admitted that he used specific constructions to actually reduce the tax burden of his Trump enterprise, which is and of course everybody should do that. Everybody should try to keep his tax lowest as possible, because you owe that to your company, you owe that to your people to do that. But what kind of an attitude is that as the president of your country, to advocate people to reduce that tax burden?
Yeah, I think you're right, but we don't confuse top management's effort to his skill to giving the company's growth, and so this means he can get more money. Is I think we can accept them. Instead, the company or personal top management evade taxes. This is not good. So two issues. like Carlos Ghosn, I accept him. He saved Nissan
Mm.
and kick him out. Then after that, Nissan is profit uh, has gone. So because of his effort, right, he sustained his this is Nissan company's growth. So we need to appreciate his effort devoting for that company. So,
Right,
but we
but
need
the
to
gem.
consider we do not accept uh, how to manage a company with sincerity. Okay, this is very important. Otherwise, evading tax, evading so they did wrongdoing for that company or personally, like Trump doing like that. It is called reducing tax revenue. This is, I don't think this is good things.
I don't think it's a good thing either. By the way, speaking of dollars going, I read in the newspaper the other day that Saikawa, the guy who's now taking over from Gon, has also been accused of misappropriating $400,000 in personal income that he took that he shouldn't have taken. And he apologized. Oh, I'm sorry, and he paid it back immediately. But he's doing exactly the same thing that he accused Trump
You mean
Gon.
the former president get money, some kind of bribes?
Yes, he got a basically the income of these top managers. They're dependent on the evolution of the stock price, right? So basically, the stock goes up, you get a percentage of the increasing stock price. So what Saikawa had done is that he basically had his income pegged to a stock price that was not the actual stock price at the time of execution. He took the best stock price over a longer period of time. So if the stock price had been fluctuating between, uh, uh, let's say, 50 and $60, then at the time that it was established, it was maybe $50. But he said, okay, well, in that period, it was also $60. So he gave himself a profit over the $60, which is of course not the actual stock price, but he thereby inflated his income with $400,000. Um, so they're
Actually,
all
he made the contract with the company.
uh, well, basically he lied about the actual profit
Oh, he
on the
lied.
time.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Mm. So I think, especially American company top executives, they actually, they try to make profit for those companies, for his companies. So their effort for the company's growth instead of Japanese large company. Japanese large company is not top executive effort to sustain the company's growth and profit. So this is different. American
well,
case is the president making effort for their or commitment for their profit. Otherwise, they cannot sustain their position, right? This is
but I
different
think
from company attitude.
we need to make a difference. I think between making a profit by doing good business, and doing good business means providing good products at a reasonable price, which create added value to your customers, and thereby people buy it. And doing good business into finding the best tax loopholes to reduce your costs and thereby maximizing your profit. I think there's a big difference between one and the other.
Mm.
One is basically is focused on generating added value. The other is focused on reducing your costs. And good companies, they focus on the first, and basically they're not focused on just pumping money around in a way that it will reduce their costs, but
Mm.
they are focused on creating added value and sharing that with their workers. This is something that we have seen over the past decades, that more and more companies are now in the business of reducing their costs and taking public goods and utilizing public goods to create private benefits.